My stepson and his sister said I owed their dad an apology for replacing him. So I apologized to my own dignity, closed the college funds, pulled the family car into my name, and handed them their dad's number along with a bus schedule. He got the kids back. I kept the keys. My name is Andrew. I'm 44. I pour concrete in a town where winters split sidewalks like old men split wood. I believed in structure, in weight, in the kind of stability you could put your boots on. When I married Jessica, I thought I was laying a foundation, not just for me, but for the three of us. Her, Holly, Travis. Package deal. 2 kids from a marriage that burned out long before I showed up. Holly was 14, Travis 10. Old enough to remember their father. Young enough to still believe in him. Scott was more myth than man when I came into the picture. They talked about him like you talk about a TV character who only appears in season finales. Once or twice a year, he'd roll in with a trunk full of gifts and a rehearsed smile, wearing a leather jacket like he was still 20. He'd snap photos with the kids, take them out for overpriced sushi, and then vanish before the leftovers spoiled. He was a ghost with a credit card and just enough charm to keep their loyalty burning like incense. I never tried to be their dad. That word was loaded, radioactive. I didn't want it. I just wanted to show up, be steady, make their lives a little less chaotic. I made breakfast. I checked homework. I taught Travis how to change a tire and kept a box of Holly's favorite cereal in the pantry. Even when she refused to speak to me for days on end. Travis warmed up to me. He asked questions, followed me around, called me Andy when Jessica wasn't listening. Holly stayed distant, as if acknowledging me would be a betrayal. Jessica would whisper to me at night, hand on my chest. They've never had stability. Just keep being you. And I believed her. Stability. That was the goal. That was the contract. I thought if I gave enough, stayed long enough, they'd see me. Not as their father, maybe, but as something close. Something they could trust. For a while, it worked. We had routines. I paid for braces, bought school supplies, drove them to practice. Holly rolled her eyes, but she took the notebooks. Travis would test me, but he listened when I corrected him. Jessica would smile and kiss my cheek when the bills came in and I signed without hesitation. And then Scott came back. Not as a memory, not as a holiday breeze, but as a presence. 2 years into the marriage, the doorbell rang on a Thursday. I was on the porch fixing a rail. Jessica opened it and there he was, leaner than I remembered from photos, tanned like he hadn't worked a day indoors in a decade. Sunglasses, smile. That voice that turns every sentence into a punchline. Hey Jess, thought I'd swing by, brought something for the kids. He held up a pair of sleek boxes, headphones that cost more than my car payment. Jessica didn't shut the door. She didn't even look back at me. That night he stayed, not just for dinner, on the couch, feet on my coffee table, remote in his hand, takeout containers spread like he was hosting. Holly curled next to him. Travis laughed at every dumb joke he told. Jessica poured him a drink. Nobody blinked. I sat in the corner. My house, my groceries, my electricity. Scott said, "Man, you keep this place tight. Respect." I said nothing. Jessica smiled at him. The kind of smile I hadn't seen in a year. He started coming around more. Once a month. Then twice. Then suddenly he was picking them up from school without asking. Dropping by unannounced. Leaving notes on the fridge. Took the kids to the arcade, back by 9. Travis started saying, "Dad says I shouldn't have to do chores every day." Holly, who never said much to me, suddenly had a lot to say when it came to comparisons. Scott doesn't freak out if I miss curfew. Scott lets me eat in the car. Scott thinks you're too uptight. Jessica never corrected them. She deflected, changed the subject. Once I asked her directly if she thought it was okay that her ex was showing up without warning, undermining every structure I was trying to build. She shrugged. They're still his kids. I looked at her. I really looked. What am I then? She didn't answer. One night I came home late. Overtime. My back hurt. My boots were caked in the kind of dirt that takes days to wash out. I walked in to find Scott on my couch again. Shoes off, socks curled on the floor, Thai food spread across the table. The kids laughing at something on TV. Jessica was on the rug, cross-legged, wine in hand. He looked up. "Andy, sit down, man. You're just in time." I didn't sit. I went to the kitchen, stared at the sink full of dishes. My dishes. That night, after he left, Holly came into the garage where I was finishing up some paperwork. She didn't knock. "You owe our dad an apology," she said, "for trying to replace him." Travis stood behind her, silent. He didn't meet my eyes. I felt something shift inside me. Not snap, just lean, like a beam under too much weight. I closed the folder. "All right," I said. She blinked. "That's it." "Yeah." I didn't tell her I had nothing to apologize for. I didn't argue or defend or raise my voice. I just let the silence speak for me. Then I walked past them, upstairs to my bedroom, and laid down next to the woman who used to whisper that I was the one holding the family together. She didn't ask what was wrong. She didn't touch me. I stared at the ceiling fan spinning shadows across the room and realized something. You can pour all the concrete in the world, but if the ground underneath shifts, it all cracks anyway. And nobody thanks the foundation when the house falls apart. That night I didn't sleep. I lay still, eyes open, watching the ceiling fan spin in slow, hypnotic circles. Jessica breathed soft beside me, already gone to wherever women go when they've made peace with betrayal. I hadn't. I lay there counting everything I had done in silence. Every check I wrote, every hallway I painted, every tire I changed, every night I gave up trying to win a war no one would admit existed. At dawn I got up, made coffee, drank it in the garage. The house was silent except for the slow hum of the fridge, the kind of quiet that makes your skin itch. I looked at the workbench, the shelves I built, the labeled bins of screws and nails. My kingdom, my order. Then I turned to the filing cabinet in the corner, the one Jessica never touched, the one with the passwords, the receipts, the contracts. I unlocked it. One by one I pulled out the folders. Insurance, college funds, bank statements, car titles, everything that proved what I already knew. This house, this family, didn't stand without me. Their lives were written in my ink. Travis's private school? $12,600 a year. Holly's orthodontist? Still $3,000 left on the balance. The family car? In my name. Insurance? My name. Netflix, Wi-Fi, Spotify, cell phones, my credit card on every account. I stared at it all and felt the heat rise in my chest. They said I wasn't their father. They made it a mantra. So I made a decision. That morning, while Jessica was still asleep and the kids were buried under blankets they didn't pay for, I started the process. I logged into our health insurance provider's portal and removed them, one by one. Jessica, Travis, Holly. Coverage ends in 30 days. Then I froze the college savings accounts. $94,000. Locked. Not a cent could be touched without my sign-off. I transferred the title of the Toyota, the family car, into my name exclusively, printed the document, filed it. I canceled the debit cards I'd set up for the kids, disconnected their auto refills, and changed every password on every account I owned. They could stream their shows somewhere else. Then I printed a sheet of bus schedules, marked a route in red ink, the one that passed closest to Scott's last known address. At the bottom of the page, I wrote his number, folded it, tucked it into an envelope with their names on it. They said I wasn't their dad. Fine. Let their real father pick them up from now on. That afternoon, I sat them down. Jessica on the couch, arms folded, face unreadable. Holly in the corner, scrolling through her phone like none of this mattered. Travis trying to look tough but fiddling with the hem of his shirt. I handed them the envelope. "What's this?" Jessica asked, not opening it. "Bus schedule," I said. "Scott's number. If he's gonna play father, he can start acting like one." She blinked, once. "What are you saying?" "I'm done," I said. "With the bills. With the charade. With being treated like a thief in a house I built." Holly finally looked up. This is a joke. I met her eyes. Is it? Travis looked at me like he was seeing something for the first time. You're serious? I nodded. Completely. Jessica said nothing. She didn't touch me, didn't cry, didn't ask me to stop. That told me everything I needed to know. That night I helped them pack. I folded Holly's sweaters, carried Travis's duffel to the front door, printed copies of documents they might need. Didn't say much. Didn't need to. When it was done, I stood by the door. Travis lingered, tried to smile. Dad's place isn't so bad, he said. I looked at him. You still think I was pretending? He shifted his weight, shrugged. I didn't mean it like that. But you said it. I opened the door, let them step out. I didn't follow, didn't wave, didn't ask them to stay. I closed the door behind them and locked it. Then I sat at the kitchen table in the silence I had bought with 5 years of effort and a heart full of rejection. Over the next few weeks, the effects unfolded like dominoes. The school called. Holly had been dropped from her private program. Tuition unpaid. Jessica left a voicemail. Can we talk? I didn't answer. Travis quit robotics and soccer. The registration fees had bounced. His team jersey never got picked up from the dry cleaners. Jessica moved in with a friend when I closed the joint account. The mortgage was paid by me, not her. When the utilities started sending second notices, she didn't ask me to explain. She knew. I filed for divorce 2 weeks later. She didn't contest it. Didn't even show up to court. The messages came in slowly, like water dripping from a broken pipe. First from Travis. Hey, sorry about what I said. Then Holly. Can we talk? Eventually even Jessica. I made a mistake. But none of those messages were for me. They were for the wallet they'd lost. The provider who stopped providing. The man who had bought them a lifestyle and now had closed the store. I didn't answer. I archived them. Read them once, flat-eyed, then swiped them away like spam. One day Scott called. Left a voicemail. Hey man, can we talk about this? The kids are struggling. This isn't really fair to them. I listened twice. Then I deleted it. Fair? Fair was 5 years of swallowing my pride while they sneered. Fair was standing in the shadows while he strutted in and played rockstar. Fair was buying groceries while he bought headphones and applause. They got what they asked for. They got their dad back. But they lost the man who fed them, clothed them, sheltered them, paid their way, and asked for nothing in return but a sliver of decency. A week later, Holly texted again. This time she said, "You were right. I see it now. It should have meant something. Didn't. Words don't fill bank accounts. Apologies don't pay tuition. Regret doesn't fix rot. You don't get to burn the bridge and then ask for directions." They got what they wanted. And I got something else. Not revenge. Not satisfaction. Freedom. And the silence that comes after everyone leaves, the kind that doesn't feel empty. Feels earned. 6 months later I was gone. Not just out of the house. Not just legally divorced. Gone in the way a man vanishes from a story that no longer deserves his name. I sold the place. Every floorboard, every frame, every crack in the drywall that I'd patched and repainted while they rolled their eyes. Packed my tools, my clothes, what little was truly mine, and drove west until the map stopped screaming. Oregon. Coastline, pine trees, quiet towns that didn't ask questions. I rented a small cabin on a hill with a view of the ocean and a deck wide enough to stretch my legs. I built railings with my own hands. Adopted a dog from the shelter. Black and slow, just like me. Named him Jasper. Nobody knew where I went. And nobody asked. The phone stayed quiet. The silence felt like a gift I didn't know how to unwrap. No more group chats. No more reminders for school forms or orthodontist bills. No more last-minute text messages asking for money, just until Friday. The noise was gone. So was the tension. All I had left were my thoughts, my dog, and the slow, steady beat of a man learning how to breathe again. For the first few weeks, I woke early out of habit. Made coffee. Sat on the porch and waited for some ghost to tap me on the shoulder. But none came. The quiet didn't accuse me. It forgave me. I spent my days fixing things. The cabin needed work. Floorboards were uneven. Pipes groaned. The back fence leaned like an old man in wind. I fixed it all. For no one. Just me. I met a woman at the hardware store. Her name was Kate. Red hair, soft laugh, older than Jessica by 10 years. No kids. No drama. No ghosts. She asked what brought me to Oregon, and I said, I stopped pretending I belonged somewhere I didn't. She didn't ask for details. That alone made me want to keep talking to her. We started slow. Coffee turned into lunch. Lunch into long drives. I told her the truth in pieces, not because I was ashamed, but because I needed to say it right. She listened. Really listened. When I told her everything, down to the bus schedule and Scott's number, she didn't gasp or judge. She just said, "You didn't deserve that." And that, more than anything, broke me open. Because no one had ever said that. Not once. They said I was overreacting. Bitter. Rigid. Emotionally distant. Not dad enough. But not one person looked at what I did and said, "You didn't deserve that." Kate did. We didn't talk about marriage. Or family. Or parenting. She never tried to fix me. Just sat with me in the space between silence and healing. Some nights we sat on the porch wrapped in blankets, watching fog roll in over the ocean. Jasper at our feet. No TV. No drama. Just peace. And for the first time in years, I felt human again. Meanwhile, the cracks in the family I left behind grew wider. I didn't need to ask. Social media told the story. Old habits die hard. I checked their profiles sometimes, not out of longing, but curiosity. Call it rubbernecking the wreckage. Holly's Instagram stopped showing campus sh*ts. The school crest disappeared from her bio. No more photos in lecture halls or dorms. Instead, grainy pictures from a grocery store. Apron, name tag, tired eyes. She worked nights now. And mornings. No caption. Just exhaustion. Travis was harder to track. His Facebook hadn't been updated in months. I found one photo. Someone had tagged him at a busted-up basketball court in Des Moines. He had a bottle in his hand. Wrong kind. Hoodie zipped to the chin. As like he hadn't slept in weeks. No comments. No likes. Jessica never posted at all. Just a gray shadow where her name used to be. A mutual friend once mentioned she moved in with her sister. Then someone else said she was back in her mother's basement. Nobody seemed to know for sure. Or care. And Scott? He vanished. Just like always. The hero with the headphones and Tesla dreams faded into static the moment the bills showed up. His number stopped working. The kids stopped quoting him. I never heard from him again. Because he was never built to stay. They wanted a dad. They got one. But he came with no oil changes. No insurance. No backup plan. And when the bill came due, he left it unpaid. So they turned back toward me. Slowly. Hesitantly. Like kids knocking on a door they once slammed shut. Travis texted first. "Hey. Hope you're good. Can I ask you something?" I didn't answer. 3 days later. "I'm sorry. For what I said. I was mad. I didn't mean it." Still I said nothing. Then came Holly. She emailed. Subject line. "I get it now." The message was short. "I thought Scott was fun. I thought he cared. But he doesn't even answer when I call. You did. Every time. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I miss how things used to be. Should have felt like justice. Didn't. Felt like late rent. Apologies written on checks that bounced." Jessica sent a letter. Handwritten. Ink smudged. 5 pages front and back. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She didn't blame me. She just said, "You carried us. And we never said thank you. You were never supposed to save us, but you tried anyway. I know what I cost you now. I hope you found peace." I folded the letter and burned it in the fireplace. Watched the words turn to ash. Because peace isn't something you find in someone else's regret. It's what you buy for yourself when you finally stop financing other people's fantasies. I'd spent 5 years trying to be something they didn't want. Then 6 months learning how to want nothing but peace. And now, I wake up when I want. Drink coffee without tension. Walk my dog without checking my phone for guilt. There's no more talk of curfews or college fees. No more teenage sneers. No more sitting at the head of a table where no one saw me. Just the wind, the sea, the silence. And Kate, she never says, "They were just kids." She says, "You lived through hell. And that's enough. That's everything." So if they ever find this, the ones who turned their backs when I needed them to see me, I want them to know something. I didn't leave the family. I left the role they forced me into. I stopped playing the fool in their favorite story. I stepped out of the frame they shoved me into and finally saw the truth. They weren't my children. They were passengers. And I was the fuel. They burned it all. But now the tank is empty. And I don't owe them a single mile more. Sometimes, when the wind dies down and the ocean holds its breath, I scroll. Not because I miss them. Not out of grief. But the way a man stares at a scar. Not to remember the pain, but to remind himself he survived it. Holly's page is still up. New job. Pharmacy tech, I think. Her eyes are older now. Not wiser, just heavier. The sparkle she wore like armor at 16 is gone. The captions are sparse. Emojis and quotes about hard work. About silence. As if she's learned that being loud gets you nothing when the rent's due. Travis? Vanished. Deleted everything. No Facebook. No posts. Just a tagged photo on someone else's feed. A party maybe, plastic cup in hand, half smile, half gone. His shoulders are broader now. His jaw unshaven. There's a look in his eyes. A hunger, but not the good kind. Not ambition. Desperation. Like a boy trying to outrun the man he was supposed to become. Jessica never reached out again. No more letters. No calls. Not even a birthday message the year I turned 45. She knows I'm gone for good. I think that's why she stays silent. Guilt has a sound. It's the absence of asking. Kate tells me I dream a lot. She says I toss more than I let on. That I talk sometimes. That I mumble names I don't even realize I'm still carrying. She strokes my hair and never asks for explanations. She just lets me breathe. And when I wake up gasping, soaked in sweat, heart hammering, she doesn't ask, "What's wrong?" She says, "You're safe now." And God help me, I believe her. But some things don't leave. They linger like smoke in clothes. The memory of standing in that garage, holding those folders like they were bricks to throw through my own windows. The sting of Holly's voice. "You owe our dad an apology." The look in Travis's eyes, not anger, not fear. Just certainty. Like he knew the words would hurt and said them anyway. The worst part? They were right. I did try to replace him. Not because I wanted to. Because I had to. Because Scott didn't show up, and someone had to fill the silence he left behind. I was the silence. The structure. The one who didn't get cheers or Father's Day cards but showed up anyway. To drive, to pay, to fix, to carry. And I let that be enough. Until it wasn't. People talk a lot about being the bigger man. They say, "Don't take it personally. They're just kids. They'll come around." But those people never lived it. They never poured their paychecks into someone else's children and got spit in the face for trying to help. They never watched the woman they loved lean quietly toward the man who broke her and away from the man who held her together. They never heard the words, "You're not my real dad," and realized that real means nothing when loyalty's for sale. What they don't say, what nobody says, is that you can do everything right and still not be chosen. That sometimes the ones you carry will use your back as a floor and still call someone else the foundation. I gave 5 years. In return, I got contempt and a front row seat to the kind of disrespect that doesn't yell. It dismisses. And when I finally walked away, when I stopped signing checks and playing savior, the house I built collapsed overnight. That wasn't coincidence. That was truth. Truth that says, love without respect is slavery. And I was the slave. So now, I live small, deliberate. There's no calendar packed with practices or parent-teacher nights. No wallets full of receipts I didn't sign up for. Just me, Kate, Jasper, and a life that fits into one truck bed and one quiet Sunday. The fireplace works. The silence is honest. The love? It's mutual. No conditions. No paternity tests. No silent scorecards. Just two people who know the value of peace and the cost of betrayal. Sometimes I wonder if Holly ever thinks about that night, the one where she asked me to apologize to a man who'd never shown up for her the way I did. I wonder if she remembers what she said, if it haunts her, if she looks at her pay stub and thinks about the tuition that used to come from nowhere, if she remembers how fast that nowhere closed. I wonder if Travis ever tells his friends about the man who paid for his braces, his bus rides, his hobbies, all without demanding to be called Dad. I wonder if Jessica wakes up and sees the outline of the man she let slip away because being neutral was easier than being loyal. And I wonder if they still think I was cruel, or if they've started to understand the difference between cruelty and consequence. Because I never lashed out, never screamed, never broke a dish or slammed a door. I just stepped back, removed the scaffolding, and let them see what they'd built without me. It didn't stand long, but that's not my fault. That's theirs. So here's what I've learned. A man can give his name, his money, his time, his love, and still be a stranger in the house he built. A man can carry a family like a cross, and still be left behind when someone flashier shows up with empty promises. A man can be patient, kind, present, and still be punished for not sharing their blood. And when that happens, he has two choices. He can keep sacrificing until there's nothing left of him, or he can walk away. I chose the second, and for that I sleep at night. So if you've made it this far, if you've read every word, if your stomach turned at mine, if you've stood at the edge of the family dinner and realized you were the only one holding the plate, I'll ask you what I ask myself every day. Was I wrong? Was it too much? Was stepping back the sin? Or was the real sin in staying silent while they carved me out of my own life? Would you have stayed? Would you have apologized? Would you have kept feeding the hands that never once clapped for you? Or would you have done what I did? Walked out, closed the wallet, burned the bridge, and finally, picked yourself? You don't have to answer. I already know what I would do again. Exactly this. Every damn step. Because they got their dad. And I got my life back. They can keep the memories. I'll keep the keys.